class, and the second one is special purpose. Okay? Sorry. Special purpose. In the general observation class, we have seen three important classes. One is interventions, events, and then we have seen findings. And the special purpose, I told you again, we have three important classes. One is special purpose of point data sets, then we have and then we have relationship domains. Okay? And in the last class, we will start discussing about the special purpose domain data sets. In the special purpose domain data sets, remember what are the domain that we have seen? I told you the most important DM domain. And then I told you comments are going to be present in the CO. Complete elements are present in SE. Complete elements in SE. Okay? And then after that, child design models. Whatever the protocol plan that we have, I told you the whole protocol plan, it is going around 200 to 300 pages. So reading the protocol plan is going to take a lot of time. So instead of reading the entire protocol, so now FD is asking to submit all the important information of the protocol into few data sets. Remember what are the data sets that we have? Whatever the trial form that we have in the data set, put the information into a data set. Whatever the elements we have in the trial to have device, put all the trial elements into one data set. And then whatever the plan pages that we have, put all that information into one data set, which is called trial pages. And then, the next important thing is, and whatever information criteria that we have, put that information into DI. And the overall summary of the protocol, put the trial summary. And recently, we have one more data set called trial PC assessment. And that we have, I told you, the whole protocol plan, it is going around 200 to 300 pages. Reading the protocol plan is going to take a lot of time. So instead of reading the entire protocol, so now FD is asking to submit all the important information of the protocol into few data sets. Remember what are the data set that we have? Whatever the trial form that we have in the data set, put the information into a data set. Whatever the elements we have in the trial to have device, put all the trial elements into one data set. And then whatever the plan pages that we have, put all that information into one data set, which is called trial pages. And then, the next important thing is, and whatever information criteria that we have, put the information into DI. And the overall summary of the protocol, put the trial summary. And recently, we have one more data set called trial PC assessment, TD. All these trial design models we derive or we map from the protocol plan. And once you are done with these trial design models, now we have a relationship domains. Yeah. In the events, say for example, we have one of the domain is adverse events. Okay. Now, according to HTML guidelines, in adverse event data set, we are going to have, say for example, 45 variables. But I have extra information. So beyond the 45 variables, I wouldn't be able to put all my information in the 45 variables. I have some extra information. If you have any extra information, generally, when you're writing an exam in the real time, they're going to give some main exam answer sheet. And then you want to write some additional sheets, what you will do? You take an answer sheet, and then in that we're going to write an extra answer, and then we're going to tag that information to the main answer sheet, isn't it? In the same way, I have additional information which I couldn't keep in the main data, couldn't able to keep in the main data set. In such scenario, what we're going to do? We are going to put that information in a supplementary data set. So we are going to send this supplementary data set along with the main data set. So whatever the extra additional information that we have, which we couldn't able to put in the main data set, now we are going to submit that information in additional data set called sub data set. We can create a supplementary data set for any main data set. We can create a supplementary for any data set. We can create a supplementary data set for clinical events. Okay? We can create a supplementary data set, so for example, for concomitant medication in interventions. We can create a supplementary data set for the DM data set, for the DM domain, of a special purpose. We can create a supplementary for any main data set. Okay? And I also told you, when we have a relationship between two different domains. So for example, a subject has got adverse event. From that adverse event, he started taking some concomitant medication, and we should show the relationship between that adverse event and concomitant medication. To show the relationship, in future, we are going to create a data set called REL-REC, and this is called relational records. Okay, now this supplementary and REL-REC data set both are going to come into relationship domains. So previously, we used to have only two classes in engineering domains. One is general observation, and the second one is special purpose. But recently, we have been added one more new class, which is called findings about. What is that one? Findings about the class. Again, in the findings about the class, we are going to have two domains. One is the first domain is called as findings about it. What information we can find in findings about? Whatever information which we couldn't able to keep in the events, but related to events. It is related to events, but I couldn't able to keep any of the events class. Remember, what are the domains that we have in the events class? We have adverse events, we have clinical events, and we have medical experience. Anybody?
Yes.
We have a protocol detail. We are going to have a disposition. We have a
Healthcare encounters.
I have some extra information which I couldn't able to keep in this 6 events class. In such scenario, we are going to put that information in the findings about, say for example, some bleeding information like that one. And now, in any of these domains, we do not have anything related to dermatology. And if we have any skin reactions, to keep that information, we have a new domain called skin reactions or yes or domain. So findings about and skin reactions, both are going to come into which class? Findings about. Understand it, everybody? Now, can you tell me in the intervention class one more time? What is all the domain that we have seen here? We have seen clinical events, we have seen exposure, and then we have seen exposure as collected.
Procedures.
Exposure as collected, and then we have seen substance use, and then we have seen procedures or PR class, and we have seen PR. These are the domains that we have seen, isn't it? And now, in the findings class, remember what are all the domains we have seen in finding class? Anybody?
Physical examination, EG,
We have seen LD reports, we have seen test reports, and then we have seen vital signs into EDS data set, then we have seen ECG results into ED data set, then remember what are the domains that we have seen? And we have seen clinical examination into PE, subject characteristics into ESC,
pharmacokinetic concentration,
information into questionnaire, then
Sample size, pharmacokinetic concentrations and pharmacokinetic parameters.
We have seen pharmacokinetic concentrations into BC, pharmacokinetic parameters into PB, and then set the cadence into ED, subject status into SS, and drug accountability into PA, and then immunohistochemical criteria comes into IE, microbiology into MD, and then
Particular susceptibility, immunogens.
and then microbial susceptibility into MD. And then we have seen, unsaturated domains of PUR, PU, and PUR. Those all three domains, whenever we have an oncology study, we are going to put them, TU, PR, and
RS.
And apart from that, what are the other domains that we have in here, anybody?
Morphology of organism.
Microbial morphology, microbial morphology,
Microscopic morphology.
microbial morphology into PIVO, and microbial susceptibility, and microbial susceptibility we have seen, no?
Yes.
And then,
Cardiovascular.
you have a
Veterinary findings.
concentrations into FP, and genomic findings into GF. Okay, and then we have seen respiratory system analysis into RA.
MK.
We have seen nervous system, and we have seen musculoskeletal. And then organic examination we have kept into OE, and then we have seen musculoskeletal system in ENK, musculoskeletal system in MK, and then respiratory systems into RE. And then reproductive system findings into RP, and then these are some of the important domains that we have seen in findings, and we have seen even what we call urinary system findings UR. Okay, so these all comes under findings class. Clear, everybody? This is SGDM domain classification that we have seen. Very, very important question. If you are going as a refresher or 1 or 2 years experience, so these are the questions that you are going to get. Okay.
The information we are going to put into events or findings, we are going to keep that information finding events.
Which information that you are going to be able to keep in the events, we can that information into findings server.
Okay.
Okay. And by the way, in any of the given studies, we are not going to submit all the domains. It depends on the study. It depends on the number of domains and the type of domain that we are going to submit. But sometimes, irrespective of the study, okay, there are going to be certain domains. We are going to submit the domains 100%. Okay. Now, what information that you are going to keep? How that information, which domain that you are going to submit? Say for example, if you want to put 3 years experience, okay, or say 5 point only on SGDM, what are the domains that you are going to keep? And in the class, what domain that you are going to discuss in the next 1 to 1.5 months? So, this is the first domain that you are going to keep. 100% we are going to keep in the resume. And in the interventions that we are going to put CM domain, concomitant medication, and we are going to put exposure, third important domain, and then we are going to keep exposure as corrected. So, and then in the events we are going to put EE in the 5th domain, clinical events 6th domain, medical history 7th domain, this is the 6th domain, medical history 7th domain, and disposition 8th domain. Okay, and then when it comes with the in findings, we are going to put LV 9th domain, vital signs we are going to put as 10th domain, EC we are going to put as 11th domain. Okay, and then we are going to put subject elements 12th domain, and then we are going to put subject visits as 20th domain, and then I'm going to put pharmacokinetic concentrations as 14th domain, pharmacokinetic parameters as 15th domain. Understand this? So these are the 15 domains that I'm going to keep along with the 15 domains. So now I'm going to put the supplementary domain in my resume because we are going to supplementary domain for each and every data set. Okay, and along with that I'm going to submit all the trial design because I'm going to teach you the subject elements, trial design models, all the trial design models I'm going to teach you along with the program. Okay, and along with that we are going to put the relevant data set at this time, and we are going to put findings about also. Okay, now how many domains we have covering here? So these are practically, and we are going to cover programmatically, and remaining domains I'm going to discuss whatever the important domains that we have substance use, procedures, and applicable counter deviations, and I'm going to discuss about the questionnaire, and I'm going to discuss about the physical examination, subject characteristics, I'm going to discuss about all other findings important, and if the time permits, I'm going to take the oncology study separately, so that I'm going to discuss all the 3 oncology domains. So whatever the domain that I'm going to discuss with you, and these domains, you can put only with this SGDM 5 years experience. It's up to you. How much knowledge that you want to gain, you can get it, and based on that, we can prepare the next 1 to 1.5 months. So we are going to discuss around the 20 domains programmatically, and another 10 domains theoretically. Total we are going to complete 30 domains. Any of the given study, if you want to do the 13 domains in the real time, how much time it will require, how much time it will take to learn, it is going to take around 3 to 4 years time. So that means whatever all the 3 to 4 years time that we are going to get the knowledge or experience, that experience we are going to get in next to 1.5 years, 1.5 to 2 months time. Understand this, everybody? This is about SGDM classification, and these are the important domains that we are going to discuss. And by the way, when I'm discussing about the SGDM, in what I'm going, first of all, I will go with the special domains, special purpose domain. I will discuss about the TM and concomitant first. Then I will go to trial design models, because the trial design models are generated based on the protocol. So if you understand the trial design models, you get a lot of knowledge on SGDM and in general clinical trials. And then after that, I will go with the general observation. First, I will discuss interventions, then events, then findings. Then I will come to special purpose. And in the special purpose, I will discuss about the subject elements and subject visits during our clinical trial. Every now and then, we are going to discuss about the supplementary and the trial. This is how we move forward in SGDM topic. Clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you're submitting your clinical trial data, what information that you're going to submit to your client, maybe the regulatory body, maybe your client or the sponsor, whoever it might be, what data that you're going to submit. Of course, for example, if you have all the adverse events information, of course, you're going to submit adverse events information in a data set called EE. Are you going to submit only EE data set? No. Along with the EE data set, we are going to submit the metadata of EE data set. Do you know what is metadata? What is metadata? Data about the data. Understand this one? Data about the data. So what is data about data? What information there is, in the real time, the data it is not enough, it is not complete. Along with the data, you have to submit the metadata. Because the metadata is going to tell you how you created this data set and whether you have followed CDISC standards or not. Whether your data set is having CDISC compliance or not. Understand this one? We only the data must be submitted to everybody. I cannot understand what is the length of each and every variable, how much is the data, what is the label of the variable, what is the character of the variable that you have mentioned. I don't know. Until unless we can see the metadata. So we are going to submit the metadata. Now how to get the metadata of the data set? It is a base as the metadata procedure called block content. Isn't it? Block content procedure is going to submit it generated the metadata or the descriptor information of the data set, like the data set level. And then I told you when you run the block content, it's going to do data set summary, engine or host dependent information, and then we get also alphabetical it in already list of variables and varieties. What you can get? You can only variable name, data type, length, label, format, and format. But those 6 attributes are not enough when it comes with the CDISC submission. When it comes with SDDM data metadata submission. So that's why block contents processor is not good enough to get the metadata of an SDDM dataset. Then how to get the metadata? Previously, we used to write a SAS program to get the metadata. But FDG is asking us, whatever the SDDM metadata that we have, please submit all this metadata in the form of define.xml. Or we have .pdf.xls in the same way. They will ask you to submit the metadata in .xml format. And that document we call the metadata document we call it generate define.xml, define.pdf. How to generate? Previously, we used to generate this define.xml by using SAS only. Okay, previously. But if you want to generate by using SAS, you should have a SAS knowledge and you should also have a define.xml knowledge also, skills also. But it's going to be very difficult. The same programmer will possess both the skills. That's why. There is a form called OpenCDISC. The OpenCDISC has been generated and they designed an automated tool. And then that automated tool we call it as a Pinnacle 21. Okay, now by using this Pinnacle 21, and we can generate the metadata of SDDM or in future ARM datasets in define.xml format. You don't need to do anything. It's an automated tool. You should open the Pinnacle 21. You should give all your SDDM datasets to Pinnacle 21. Automatically this Pinnacle 21 will generate the define.xml. We will discuss about how to generate the define.xml. And this Pinnacle 21, not only to generate the define.xml, by using this Pinnacle 21, we can also check up the CDISC compliance. So it is an officially recognized tool, officially accepted tool by CDISC. Everybody is going to use only Pinnacle 21 to generate the metadata in the define.xml format. At the end of the SDDM, after generating all the SDDM datasets, I will show you how to generate the define.xml, how to interpret the results. But in today's class, in the define.xml, what are the most important metadata elements that you can find? Because if you understand the metadata elements in today's class, while writing the program in the next 1 month, we are going to take care of that metadata so that at the end of the day, and at the end of the SDDM, we don't need to worry about much about whether our datasets are following CDISC complaints or not. Now, starting to create the metadata for your CDISC complaints, for your body, we don't need to worry about the CDISC complaints at the end of our SDDM. So, in today's class, what are the important points or elements that we can find in the define.xml? And we are going to discuss about that now. Okay, now, in the define.xml, we are going to have the following important things. Okay, the first one that we are going to have is the origin of the data. From where we are originating this data. Okay, now generally, in SDDM, from where we can get the data? Origin of the data. In SDDM, from where we can get the data? How we are going to populate the data? From log. And I told you, 80% of the time, the data we are going to get it from where? We are going to get it from the CRF. 80% of the time, the data we are going to get it from the CRF sheet. So all the lab test reports, vital signs information, all the treatment information, demographic information, adverse events information, medical history, concomitant medication, all this information you can find on the CRF sheet. Understand this one? But sometimes the information, we are going to collect the data by directly from, what we call it as we are going to collect the data directly from the machine, automated machine. And that is called as EDD. EDD stands for electronic data capture. Sometimes EDD. EDD stands for what? Electronic data capture. Nowadays we have some automated tools, so we don't need to bother about that one. The tool is going to analyze the sample and then we are going to get the data and directly the data is going to get entered into the database. Understand this one? And that is called electronic data capture. EDD. Okay, and the third important thing is the third important source is sometimes we are going to get the data from the protocol. So the study name or the study code. Okay, and we are going to have, and I show you try launch dataset, try image dataset, try disease, try inclusion data, try summary, try image information. We get all this information from which document? We are going to get the information from the protocol. And the fourth important thing is, so from the control technology, what we are going to do? We are going to assign the values. What we are going to do? We are going to assign the values. In the control technology, we are going to have that value based on that we are going to assign it. Okay, so for example, there is going to be a variable called age units. In the age units, what value should we have? In the age units, we should have years. How many of them should we have the years in the control technology specified? And according to that, I am going to map that information. Simply, we are going to assign the value. And the next important thing, sometimes as a SAS programmer, we are going to derive that value. We are going to write a SAS program. Based on the SAS program, that we are going to derive that value and we are going to keep the derived value. I will tell you the best example. There is going to be a variable called age in a PM dataset or PM domain. So we are going to keep this value. Where we can find the value? You will not find anywhere this value. In the CRF sheet, we are going to have a birthday date. And the CRF sheet, we are going to have a treatment start date. Okay, now what we are going to do? Now we are going to specify, we are going to get SAS algorithm. Treatment start date minus birthday date divided by 365.25, and then what I am going to do? I am going to get only the integer value of this one. So I am going to get the SAS algorithm. Based on the SAS algorithm, I am going to get the value. So that means as a SAS programmer, I am deriving this value. So if somebody asks, how we got this age value? The origin of the age value is derived because as a SAS programmer, I'm deriving this one. Understand this one? So these are the some of the important sources of SGDM variable data. So the important source of the data is Sierra sheet. Sometimes we are going to capture the directly from drawing data from the machine, and sometimes what we are going to do, we are going to collect the data from the protocol, and then sometimes based on the control technology, I am going to assign the value, and finally, as a SAS programmer, I am going to derive the values. By using any of these methods, we are going to get the data. So in the define.xml, there is going to be a column called origin. In the origin, we are going to have any of these values. CRF, DDT, protocol, derived, assigned. We are going to have that. By seeing that, one can understand how we got this data together. Understand this, anybody? Now, again, in the define.xml, the next important thing that we are going to have a variable name. What is the length of the variable name you should have? When creating a variable attributes in SGDM, you have to follow, v5 transport file format rules. Section 5 transport file format rules. What is this v5 transport file format rules? Okay, according to v5 transport file format rules, right now, what is the version we are using anyway? What is the SAS version we are using? So 9.4 comes under which engine? V9. But in SGDM still, what is the version that we are using? v5 transport file format rules. And these are also called in the way Oracle constraints. Okay, what are the Oracle constraints and transport file format rules that we have? According to v5 transport file format rules, a variable name should be less than or equal to, how many characters should we have? Less than or equal to only 8 characters. So when we were discussing about the base size, I told you a variable name should be up to. Variable name up to, I told you how many characters. I told you you can have anything between 1 to 32 characters. But according to v5 transport file format rules, a variable name should be less than or equal to only 8 characters. That means in SGDM, all the variable names should be less than or equal to 8 characters only. Whenever we have a study ID, the variable name is going to be STU dy ID. And we are going to have a variable called domain, and we are going to have a variable called USUBJ ID. We are going to have a variable called SUBJ ID, and we are going to have, SUBJ ID. We are going to have a variable called AE count. We are going to have AE STDC and AE STDC. Now, can you see all these variable names are less than or equal to only 8 characters? If you have to 8 characters, that's it. They will receive the data. Okay, and these variable names must be always in uppercase. Always should be in uppercase. Do you know how to convert the variable names into uppercase, anybody?
Uppercase.
How to convert the variable names into uppercase? Very good. We should use a global option. Options valid value is equal to? Okay, sir. By getting a valid value is equal to okay, sir. We can consider a global option. We can convert all the variable names into uppercase. And when creating a variable name, you should start with always only alphabet from A to Z. But in the base, as I told you, whenever creating a variable name, you should start with either alphabet or underscore. You should start with underscore. You should start with only from alphabet from A to Z. You can have a number, but you should not start with the number. And this is about the variable name. Once you're done with the variable name, the second one is a variable data type. How many types of data that we have? That we can have, just like in a base sensor, we can have 2 types of data, either character data or we can have a numerical data. Character data or numerical data. And the third one is the label of the variable. Remember, what is the label length of the variable base as? Anybody? 256. 256. So that is what we can do in the base as. But since we are following v5 transport file format rules, the length of a label should be less than or equal to 40 characters. We should write the label for all the variables according to series SGDM guidelines, but the label must be less than or equal to 40 characters and they should be in properties. You don't need to worry about the label. We are going to tell you through specification, and based on that, we are going to specify the label. Understand this, everybody? Now, once you're done with the label, the next one is the length of the variable. If it is a character variable, what is the character variable length in base as? Maximum? 32,767. That is in base as. But according to series SGDM guidelines, the length of the character variable should be less than or equal to 200 characters. This is a v5 file format rules. Less than or equal to only 200 bytes. Understand? And again, there are going to be certain rules, certain variables you should have only length 8, certain variables length should be less than or equal to 20, and I will tell you later in just case. And with the numerical variable, what is the length we can have? A numerical variable we can have less than or equal to 8 bytes. So you know right on for that. Understand this one? And this is about the length of the variable. And then the format. What is the format you should follow? Certain variables you should follow specific formats. And what format you should follow? Now, series has proposed some formats. They have given this format by through a control technology document, and this is called series control technology. Right now, we are using series control technology version 5.0, and we are going to download this one. This is called Excel format, and whatever the format they're suggesting, we are going to follow the same format as some specific variables. You should not follow your own control format, sir. We should follow only whatever the format that we have in control technology, we should follow. And we can download this series control technology version 5.0 from series website, and you can use that one. Now, along with the series control technology, what we are going to have, Sponsor is also going to provide some control technology, and that is called Sponsor control technology. And in future, we are going to have adverse events and laboratory data. For adverse event laboratory data, we have adapted some control technology from American Cancer Institute, and that is called Common Technique Control Technology Criteria for Adverse Events, CTCE. And we don't need to worry about that, but I'll explain each and everything during those domains explanation. So, series can propose some control technology. Sponsor also going to give his own control technology, and along with that, for adverse events and for the laboratory data to determine the toxicity grades, we follow a control technology called CTCE, Common Technical Control Technology Criteria for Adverse Events. What information? So in today's class, I'm going to tell you few control technologies. Say for example, in SDDM, if you have anywhere date variable, if you have only date, or if you have a time, or if you have a date and time, or say for example, if you have a duration, what format you should write? In such, we have a date time format, and we have a DDMMY or YMMDD, or we have, say for example, only for time 5 time 8 date time 80 date time 20. We have so many different types of formats, right? But which format we should follow? So according to this control series to control technology, whenever we have a timing information, we should always follow a format called ISO 8601 format. You should not write a date 9 dot, or a DDMMY dot, or YMMDD, or a time 8 dot, or a date time 15 dot. You should not do anything. You should only follow ISO format. And this is an official format following regular accepted by the series group. So SDDM, and then we should follow the same control technology. Same format. What is the format for the date, time, and speculation? ISO 8601 format. And I have seen in most of the interviews, in the interview, I'm going to ask the question, can you please write today's date and the current time in ISO format in the chat box? Now, can you tell me, right now the time is 7 o'clock 50 minutes PM. Tell me what is the ISO format looks like. If today's date is 19th June 2023, can you tell me how it is look like?
06 capital
2023, hyphen 06, hyphen 19, capital A, how it is a 19,
colon 51 colon
ISO 8601 date and time. Understand this one? If any patient has taken medication for 6 days, and how we are going to tell the duration, and the duration is going to be one period, 6 weeks, that means 6 days. If it's something that's taken for 1 week, then we are going to have period 1W, or we are going to have period 17 days, or 1W, 1 week. So this is the duration. And you should always follow the same format. If you didn't follow the format, then you will simply reject the data. And again, what information that you can find in the control technology? In the control technology, say for example, if you have an units variable, keep ESO in uppercase only like this one. You should write only that one. And why we should write that? Because they have given that information in the control technology. So what is control table nothing but based on the control table we create a format, and we are going to use only those formats for that certain variables. Okay, I will tell you one more. There is one variable called ECRT. According to series control technology, in ECRT we should have only 3 values. What values we should have? We should have date and mild, we should have date and moderate, or we should have severe. We should not have anything other than the 3 values. Again, how we know that much? Because they have been proposed that information in the control technology. Understand this one? Now, I will explain what is all the control technology we should use for a specific variable whenever we come across that, because if I explain everything in today's class as one topic, then you get confused and forget everything. So whenever we have that particular variable, and I will explain about the control technology for that variable. Understand this one? Yes. Now, once you have done with the control technology, the next important thing that we should have, what is the role of the variable? And we have already discussed it. We have to mention the role of each and every variable. What is the role? According to that, what kind of information that it is capturing? A variable can be, what variable say all the information? It can be an identifier variable, it can be a topic variable, it can be a timing variable, or it can be timing variable, it can be a qualifier. Identifier variable, topic, timing, and we are going to have a qualifier variable. Okay, and apart from the qualifier variable, it can be a rule variable. In qualifier variable, it can be 5 types of qualifier variables. And you know that it can be a Ruby qualifier, isn't it? And it can be very good, Shannon qualifier, it can be a result qualifier, it can be a record qualifier, and it can be a variable qualifier. So now we should know the role of the variable and we have to mention the role of each and every variable. In SDDM, any variable is going to come under this classification. Understand this one? And then the most important thing is what is the coreness of the variable? SDDM coreness of the variable. Now, based on this coreness, we can divide SDDM variables into 3 classes. The first class is called required variables. What do you mean by required variable? Very, very important. A required variable is a variable. This variable must be present in a data set 100%. And in that variable, you should have value 100%. You should not have a missing value in it. Understand? If any variable, then it must be present in the data set. And you should not happen to have a missing value. And then that variable is called as a required variable. So, this variable 100% of the data set don't value. And you should not have a missing value. If you have 1000 observations, in all the 1000 observations, you should have a value. You should not have a missing value. And that variable is called as a required variable. Say, for example, I am going to have in future a data set called PM, demographic domain. In the PM data set, we are going to have a variable called the first variable that we are going to have a study ID. You know what is study ID? In the study ID, we are going to have the study identification error. So, for example, my study ID is ABC123. For example, in the DM domain, this study ID is required variable, so you should have this variable 100% in your data set. So, for example, in the DM data set, you can have 1000 observations. In all the 1000 observations, what should I have now? I should have 1 2 value. I should not have missing value in any of those observations. And that variable is called a required variable. This example is study ID, and we are going to have one more variable called domain, and we are going to have one more variable called use of dictionary, and we are going to have one more variable in future called sequence. All these variables are examples for required variables. What do you mean required variable? What do you mean required variable? This variable must have any missing value. Any missing values in it. If you have missing value, that means something is wrong in your program, or maybe something is wrong in the data. If it is wrong in the program, you should go back and you should check the data. And still, if you have any problem, and you should go back to the database and you should check the database whether you have the missing value or not. If you have missing value, you should report the data manager about that information. Now, the second class that we are going to have is expected variable. What is an expected variable? This variable, we should have 100%, we should have that variable in our data set. We should not miss that one. We should have that variable. But in some of the observations, you can have a missing value. In some of the observations, few observations, you can have a missing value. But 100%, you should have that variable in your data set. And such variable is called as an expected variable. Say for example, in the TM data set, we are going to have a variable called, say for example, age. Age is an expected variable. And we are going to have a variable called RF STDTC. You may not know what is now, then you can understand that one later. We are going to have a variable called RF ENDTC. And we are going to have a variable called RF ICDTC. All these variables are expected variables. That means you should have the variable in the data set, but sometimes you can have a missing value in it. And then we are going to have a third type of variable, which is called as an unmissable variable.
Sir, we should compulsorily have expected variable in the data set, but we can have missing or non-missing values.
Yeah, of course, sir. We are going to have most of them non-missing. Sometimes in some of the observations, sir, you can have missing values. If you do not have a data, but you can keep it as a missing.
But compulsory we should have that variable.
Yes, 100% you should have the variable in the data set.
Okay, sir.
And the third type of variable that we have is unmissable variable. You know what is this one? You may or may not have this variable. Let's have this one. Even if you have the variable, you can have missing values. You can have missing values. And the such variable is called an unmissable variable. You may or may not. If there's for example, I have a data set. In the data set, say for example, we are going to have a variable called, again I'm discussing about the TM data set. In the TM data set, we are going to have a variable called investigator ID, INV ID. So that means whoever the investigator, we should take the ID of that person. And it is a permissible variable. Say for example, in the TM domain, I have 1,000 records or 1,000 observations. In all the 1,000 observations, unfortunately, I didn't get the investigator ID. In the sponsor also, you can drop this variable completely. But you can have that variable and you can have missing values in it. And such variable is called an unmissable variable. Understand this one? So based on the coolness, we divide SCM variables into three important classes, very, very important. The first one is the required variable, which means 100% you should have that variable and you should not have missing value in it. And the second one is expected variable. 100% you should have that variable in your data set, but you can have missing values in it. And the third one is the permissible variable. You may or may not have that variable in your data set. Even if you have that variable, you can have missing values in it. If the entire data set having a missing value for that variable, if the sponsor wants it, you can drop that variable completely. And such variables are called permissible variables. So we can divide any of the zero. Any of the zero variable comes under any of this class. And in the interview, they're going to ask you, can you please tell me what are the required variables we have in our given data set? Or what are the expected variables that we have in the TM data set? And what are the permissible variables that we have in the adverse image? So that is how they're going to ask the question. Or they can ask you specific variable. Can you tell me this variable comes under which classification? Is it required or expected or permissible? And you should know each and every variable comes under which coolness. Understand this, anybody? So, sir, these are the important information that we are going to find in the metadata of our defined XML. What information that we are going to find? First of all, in the metadata, we are going to find the name of the variable. And tell me, do you know the rules, right? What is the name of the, when you're writing the name of the variable, what are the rules you should follow?
So is there
What are the rules you follow? Always
I should start with alphabets, no special character, no special character.
And then the second thing that we are going to have here is data type. You know what data type we should follow? We should have only two types of data, numerical or character. And then by writing a label, you know what are the rules you should follow? Label must be less than or equal to 40 characters or 40 characters. It should be a forward class. And then the length of the variable, if it is a character variable, less than or equal to 200. If it is a numerical variable, less than or equal to 50. And then when it comes to the format, what format we should follow? We should follow series continuous This is control technology. And for certain variables, FOSS also going to provide his own control technology, or for certain variables, so we are adopting CDCAE. Understand this one?
Yes, sir.
And now, what is actually what you should understand? You should understand the origin of the data. According to series guidelines, what is origin of the data? It can be CRF sheet, electronic data cache, protocol, assigned, or derived. And then we should know the role of the variable. It can be identifier variable, topic variable, timing variable, qualifier variable, or and then you should understand the coolness of the variable. And based on the coolness, it can be required, expected, and permissible. Understand this one? So these are the some of the important things that you should understand in the metadata. And I will explain the defined XML, the negative 21, how to generate the metadata, everything once you have completed the CDM by taking all the data sets as one branch and we generate the defined. Clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Now, into our class.
The CTA means,
Common technology criteria for adverse event. CTCAE. Common technology criteria for adverse events. Understand?
yes, sir.
Okay, and in tomorrow's class, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the special purpose. In the special purpose, in tomorrow's class, I'm going to start with the first domain, TM. So actual SGDM classes are going to start from tomorrow. Understand this one? Okay, then. See you in tomorrow's class.
Yes, sir. Permissible variable example.
Permissible variable. But TDC is a permissible variable. Okay? Investigator ID is a permissible variable. Investigator name is a permissible variable. Okay? But TDC. INV ID. INV noun. Okay? This comes under what you call the TM data set. In the same way, each and every data set are going to have few permissible variables. When I'm discussing about each domain, I'll explain each variable comes under which class, I'll explain that one. Understand?
Sir,
Yes?
so what is the code exactly means? Like, is it some criteria or?
Yes, sir. It is how important that is. Okay? Core is nothing but how important role it plays in the domain.
Okay, sir.
Okay, then see you in tomorrow's class.
So, you can go, sir.
Yes. No, not today. 8 p.m. Did you attend the submission today?
Yes, sir. But, 9 p.m.
I will take it from tomorrow, but at what time?
9
Tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Not 8, okay? Okay, then see you tomorrow. Tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you. Sir, only tomorrow.
क्या हो गया